section. So we have lots of data sources. I can pick any one of those. So we could have a look at a data source and we can see what's in it. So this is part of the definition. This one is coming in through an S3 bucket. We've got credentials to go get that data. We can see both the email and the hashed email. We might hash the email ourselves or receive it as hashed. Having defined the data sources, we can define the tables from those data sources, and that will include the variables down the left-hand side. We can see that same data, but now how we're going to declare it to the Apteco marketing platform. And then having defined the tables, and I apologize that I'm going to have to rattle along, we can declare the data view and the build, and there is that data model, actually slightly extended from the version that Aid had. We've now got 4 different tables, but you can see at the top the contacts table, central there the orders and the services, and equipped with addresses, emails and interactions. The interactions there is a placeholder for campaign history, and we now have the ability to bring the full campaign history back into this data model. You just declare the connection point. You don't need to declare all the tables. We'll create those automatically for you. Now at Apteco Live, I ran a build live on the stage. I'm not going to do that today. I've already loaded this data, and it delivers us back into this beautiful Orbit system. The Orbit system has this homepage. My user is an administrator, so I've got lots of controls like the email builder or feature controls, but we've got the main navigation devices across the top, the home, the dashboards, the audiences and the campaigns. And I'm going to just take you on a quick tour of some of the facilities the guys have picked out. So we might start with our data loaded. We might go and look at a dashboard, and here's my home dashboard. It's the one that Mark had in his presentation, and the important point is we introduced multi-tabbed dashboards. So you can see this first tab called Overview has counts and visualizations and a number of tabs we can scroll through. But you can have very different purposes for different users. So it might be that someone's looking at the spatial analysis. There are our existing 5 marketplaces for Apteco represented as maps. Now you might say I should use different sized tiles for different countries. Australia and Canada are a great deal bigger than the UK. But you get the idea. It gives us a presentation of the geographic distribution. And again, we're just working on this type of visualization, and we'll talk more about that in our roadmap. How about this? If you were a sales manager looking at the activity of Apteco, our fake retailer, we now have target tiles. So here we can see that mobile phone sales in the last year, £59 million. Great, fantastic business. 18% up on our target, which was 50 million. So in this case, we've got a fixed target. But oh dear, our profit on those mobile phones was £7.1 million, which is 10% below our target. So we've got nice green and red up and down indicators, and you can tell Orbit what sense each measure needs. You know, costs want to be lower, revenues want to be higher. We can color appropriately. We've got a new ROI card where you can identify the revenue and the investment that you've made, and we can see the return on that investment. In this case, mobile phones are giving us a -5% return. So that marketing effort is not working yet. Perhaps we should go and look at our campaigns for mobile phones. We'll do that in a minute. And here we see the sales over the last year, for example, a nice sort of spark line. If we look at tablets, they look rather more positive. Green on the sales, green on the profit, 10% positive ROI. You get the idea. Down here at the bottom of the screen, these are brand new, just arriving in the latest sprints. These are comparisons between this period and the same period last year. Brand new in the product, just in preview now. You can turn this on if you wish to. And I was preparing these tiles earlier on just to show the capability. And unfortunately, all of my measures came out negative across the bottom there. So clearly we need to improve the marketing for our Apteco fictitious business. But laptop sales compared to the last year. So this is this quarter to date. we've sold 3.39 million. That's 30% down on the same period last year. It was super easy for me to identify the date period. Orbit automatically went and found the same period last year, did the calculation for us, and we can see that last year, in the same quarter year to date, we sold 4.89 million. So a very different feel on that tab than perhaps on this tab. Maybe an analyst just wants to know how many marketable records we got. Very simple sort of counts on a layout of the data model. But maybe the marketing manager wants to know how much are we spending on marketing. So we can see again with targets, how much is our cost. In this case, our cost is well below our budget. Perhaps we haven't done enough mobile phone marketing yet. That's why our budget is still 96% remaining. Or a product manager might want to look at the product mix, for example, and if I chose to, I could go down here. We can see we've got product groups, mobile, remote, and I think it's called relax, different product groups. And as we all know, if you've used Apteco at all before, everything's interactive, so I can add that to the filter. Every tile on every tab will now refresh, but we do it in a really efficient manner. So the tabs are only refreshed when you go and visit them. But if I now, for example, went to visit the cohort tab, we see a data sample. You saw it query it because I've changed the filter on the dashboard. You saw it query it and went and got the cohort data sample who meet this particular filter. Let's use that cohort and create an audience of them. So I'll create an audience and I'll call these Apteco multi-buyers. A simple group, and I'm choosing the context. We can work on any data table. That's created the audience for me. Let's go have a look at it. There it is. We can see the rule, mobile phones, desktops, and various other devices. We've got the 1,100 people that were in that central area of the Venn diagram. But this audience area is multi-tabbed again, so I can choose various different resources. Now, the basic solutions are across the top here, but I've made some favorites. So, for example, I could say, just give me a check of my audience, and it will go and find some predetermined measures to show us both charts and data. I could say, for example, that I just want to browse some of that data. So let's have a look at it, and it will go and get, again, some prescribed columns for me, nice and quick and easy. I might want to do some analysis on it, and I could define it using the base tool, and you'll see more of this tooling coming in over the sprints to come. But again, I've just prepared some audience analysis settings or a favorite, and there's a multi-measure, multi-dimension cube with thematic shading on it, showing us where the value is in those particular intersections between category and status. And I've demoed these types of mechanisms before, but if you're new to Apteco, it is that easy to go get that data. And guess what? I can pick on these categories and choose the bits. In fact, well, let's pick the darker green bits. You can see I've now got 5 items selected. I can create an audience, and these could be my multi-buyer manual subset, and I can create that audience. Now, it would automatically swap to that group, and I can, it's offering me to save or not the ones that I've already got. Let's stay and save. In fact, I'm going to stay but not bothering saving, because I can actually go over here to my unsaved manual buyer subset. In fact, sorry, I do need to save it. Let's hit the save button, and now I can go over to my manual buyer subset, and there's the rule that we've now written. We didn't have to write that by hand. We did it all visually. It was that easy to go and get to. Let's get back to our Apteco multi-buyers, so the original group I took from the dashboard, and I'm going to add a lookalike audience. So let's add lookalikes. I'll call these my Apteco multi-buyer lookalikes, excuse the abbreviation for time. And I can choose which variables I want to use to search for lookalikes. I'm going to allow it to use all of them because I can, and it's quick enough. And this is running live on Apteco Cloud in a data center in Ireland, connected across the net. I'm using it here on a nice wired connection, but on the train down this morning, Mel was using Orbit tethered to her mobile phone on the train. You really can do that. The bandwidth is not that significant that we need it. So let's just choose which variables. In fact, I'll have all 3 predictive variables. You can see sessions on this. Let's just save my changes. And I have a choice of two options. Do I just want to create an audience with a specific number, or do I want to create a rule to go and find more? Let's, of these lookalikes. Let's just create an audience, and I'll call these my Apteco multi-buyer lookalike audience. You can see why I abbreviated it now, can't you? How many do I want? Well, let's have 100,000 of those, and we'll create that audience. So now the Apteco platform has gone, found that audience nice and quickly. It's ready for us. I can view that audience. There it is. You can see it's as yet unsaved. It's a lookalike audience. It's got 100,000 people in it because we limited it to the top 100,000 by the score that we just created. That score was just made live in front of your very eyes. It's that easy. Why would I create lookalikes? Because I might want to go and use them in a campaign. So just in our very quick whistle-stop tour, here's our campaign area with a typical mix of live but paused campaigns, live and running successful campaigns, draft campaigns, all available to us, and lots of mechanisms for filtering all of this. Do you remember I joked that we maybe ought to do some more marketing around our mobile phone? Well, here's a campaign one of my colleagues drafted. You've seen it already on the screenshots. And let's just say we're going to edit it. We do allow multiple editors to contribute, but not at the same time. We will carefully manage that for you. And here, if I click on that, you can see, as Martin showed earlier, for example, we've got some lookalikes. We've got the count of those lookalikes. We've got some exclusions. We've got the net counts that he talked about. If I just cancel that, if we go look at the email, we're using Apteco email in this case, and I can go look at the template. So let's just edit the template. And this is integrated into Orbit. Here's our template editor. This is the email that we had on the screen earlier. Just drawing it. There you go. Look what's about to land. The latest new Apteco mobile phone is about to land. We've got some personalization around the first name. We've got some lovely content. We can manage that all in the image gallery. We've got some conditional blocks. So here the pre-order discount is being controlled by the discount variable and the code discount B, or this one is discount A, and I think we had a novice user category, so novices get a free app setup. So a lovely drag and drop template editor. You saw me demo it at the conference. I'm not going to do more with that now, but look over here. We can see that a required content field is missing. Orbit has noticed that that template needs a field, and we can fill that in. Its first name. Do we want to add it automatically? Yes, we do. So I can add it. It's now been added. There's the field, and I can choose to define that by editing it. I can say I actually want to populate it with a variable to fill in the template called first name, and I'm going to put in place my variable from my data set, and it happens to be called slightly differently first space name. So I can populate that into the data. We're now making sure that we've got the right parameters going in there. It's not actually my campaign, so I'm going to cancel that change. But down here you can see a time delay of a week and then an interaction split. So a week after sending the email, we judge, did they unsubscribe, in which case we'll end the campaign. Did they bounce? We'll end the campaign. They click. Oh, they clicked. Did they redeem the code? We offer them a redemption code. If they did, we're going to send them to our first campaign section. They're going to go to the pre-order thanks section. And it's this easy. With this path redirect, I can just hit the arrow and it will take me to the pre-order thanks section, which I can open up. And in this illustration, they are just simple one-step, one-channel sections, but they can be as big and powerful as the main campaign diagram. And in due course, as I said, we'll give them schedules, pause, resume, budget, communication constraints, all that you have on there. That campaign is also following everyone else. If they didn't redeem the code, but they did click, send them another email saying there's still time. And if they didn't eventually redeem it, we'll go to the now in stock email, which is also sent up here to the people, or linked up here to the people who never engaged to start with. And you can see the benefit already. We've got 2 references to each of those 2 sections, and I can just navigate to them by hitting the arrow, and go and see that that is also a simple one-step, one-channel campaign. But imagine some months down the line, we'll be giving you the ability to say, this is a goal, this is how to measure the revenue, this is how to report on this goal or this objective of the campaign. So we see campaign sections not only as useful in the flow of a campaign, but to give you controlled endpoints for that campaign. I'm just going to highlight one other area in here. If I go back, I'm going to choose one of our multi-channel campaigns. This is a WhatsApp campaign. I just want to mention in here, if I just edit this, you'll be able to see it more easily. If I go to this WhatsApp message, you'll see a little progress bar, and this is new. We're now doing UTM tracking on WhatsApp messages. So we can put the standard 3 source, medium, and campaign tracking codes onto the WhatsApp links so that you can measure it in Google Analytics like the whole world does, and you can see how your Apteco campaigns are doing that. We put those codes automatically onto Apteco email links already. Now we're putting them onto WhatsApp links. And finally, just in here, let's go look at the template builder. Lovely dialogues to get into the email builder I've already shown you, but we can go look at the form builder. This is new, so you can now run forms on your Apteco platform, deploy them wherever you wish. Let's just actually go get our marketing forms because they'll be more interesting. There's a form. If I just press edit, that's the structure. When it refreshes, that's the structure of the tech alert group that we saw earlier. So if you want to do a little bit of data capture to feed your Apteco platform, you can now design a form in the platform, deploy it wherever you wish. We give you the embed code. You just copy and paste it into your CMS, use it wherever you wish to, and we'll capture that data for you. And then, actually, sorry, I came all the way out. Let's just go back here. The brand new, announced today, SMS Builder. That is the text that my colleague Liz, one of our product manager, and incidentally it's her birthday today, but we decided not to sing a happy birthday because she thought it would be too embarrassing. But she wrote that text to do the screenshot that I used in my slides earlier. That's it, live in the software. And watch out. In the sprints to come, we'll be updating this, putting it in your hands so that you can send SMSs inside the application. Right, I think that's given you enough of a flavour that it's real, it's here, it's now, and you can do all of this at the push of a button on Apteco Cloud. So, with time in mind, let's come back to proceed through our agenda, except in the best tradition of tech demos, I have one more thing. One more thing, which is perhaps the biggest announcement of what we've worked on in the last 6 months. One more thing for you to think how it will change your day. One more thing to think about what Apteco is going to do as it goes global. And that one more thing is this little button. Apteco AI. You couldn't come to a tech event without somebody talking about AI. At our conference in November, I went out and said, Apteco is going to take responsibility for our partners, for our clients, for their brands, and for their staff to find out how AI, particularly generative AI, can be used in a safe, constructive, practical manner. Our teams were a bit, whoa, what? You said what? Why did you say that? I said it because the world changed when ChatGPT came out, and we've really bought into it. Our teams have really bought into it. Some of them are at the back of the room today. And what I'm going to show you now is not live on my machine. Everything I've shown you previously was live, running in Apteco Cloud. This is only running in the development workbench. But this will give you an inkling of what Apteco will deliver in the Apteco AI Assistant in the next 6 months. We're going to have this ready for our conference in November, the Apteco AI Assistant. So let's just watch a little story unfold. And if you watch the mouse, it's fairly small. And as in all good AI demos, the button is an assistant in the bottom right-hand corner, because they always are. So that's where we put ours. So let's watch as my colleague, our colleague Aaron, drives the AI Assistant. So first of all, he gets a hi Aaron. He says hello to the AI Assistant. It replies politely. This is all real replies. It says, what is orbit? The first question, in other words, is about the platform. And the AI has ingested our documentation and our training materials in order to describe what the Orbit platform is. Then tell me more about dashboards. It's given us more detail from the help, from the documentation about dashboards. Now we're asking how to use a dashboard. How do we do a filter on a dashboard? And it can tell us in beautifully presented text how you filter on a dashboard, the various different elements, dashboard filters, user filters, tile filters. And then it says, oh, then Aaron said, does Orbit support multi-stage campaigning? Hell yeah, we do. And it tells us, yes, we can see that we've got Orbit. So all of this is about guiding us in what the application can do. But look at this. He says, I have people and booking tables. They're on that dashboard. What other tables do I have? So now the Apteco generative AI assistant is looking at the the Apteco data, and it tells us we've got those tables. And what variables are there on the households table? And it tells us it's an intentionally cut down system telling us what variables there are. And what categories are there in the region. So at this point, the AI assistant is not reading help text, it's looking at the Apteco data. It's understanding the Apteco data model and telling the user more about that. It then says what variables are there on the people table. So again, we have a simple cut down set of variables. And now look at this, create me an audience of people from Yorkshire who earn less than the median income of the UK. Off we go, AI assistant, we ask, it does it, it's getting the variables, watch the main screen, you'll see I'm creating an audience for you, and that was real. That created an audience. The user didn't have to choose the variables, choose the categories, create the and between them. The AI assistant did it from them. It now says remove anything above 50K for income. So it's gone to look at the income, and now Aaron actually opened it to check that it had done it. So that's better. Rename the audience. Watch the top left-hand corner. Rename the audience. Bingo, it's done it. Shall we give Aaron and the Analyze team a round of applause for that fantastic demo? So we're not quite ready to take it out on the road, but that is real. That's the future. That's how people expect to interact with systems and with technology. My goddaughter is doing her finals at Warwick University in engineering. She's been in our office using it as a nice place to revise for her exams. And you watch a young person like that, their expectation of AI is absolutely through and through. And you know what? In a month or two, she's going to be applying for jobs. And she's going to look at old people like all of us, well, me particularly, and think, don't you get it? And the answer is, yeah, we do get it. We got it in November. We get it even more now. We're enthused, we're engaged, we're really knowledgeable now about how AI has changed the world, how AI is changing this sort of system. But you might be there worried. You might be there thinking, it's all very nice, James, safe demo. What about some of the things that we know can go wrong? Well, our team have researched those. We've understood those, and we've addressed those. Let me just talk you through some of them. What about the fear that AI can give hallucinations, incorrect results, things that are just dreamt up? You've all heard about them in the news. Well, we mitigate that because all of the numerics, all of the data structures, all of the things to do with precision come from the Apteco engine, not from the large language model. So we're doing the heavy lifting of the data. We're not uploading that data and saying to a textual engine, think about these numbers, because it's no good at it. We're good at that. It's good at the chat, the bit that's the interaction, the context, the prompt, and all of that. So we've engineered our AI assistant to use our own data engine and all the numeric results it can produce. You might also be worried about privacy and data security. How is your precious first-party customer data going to be used? Well, the answer is we isolate it. We're using isolated instances of the OpenAI model implemented on Azure that we control, and which do not get trained or use your customer data in any way other than for answering your prompt and the response. So we upload the prompt, the context, and we get the response back, but it doesn't learn from that interaction at all. We hold the conversation, we hold the history, so that it's safe within your Apteco system, and then we put the question up to that. So let me say it again. It's an isolated instance on Azure of the OpenAI model, and we manage the numeric data, we manage that isolated instance. We are sharing that, but it's sequential. So our systems will use that isolated instance, but no interaction between data sets between different customers. And you might have heard of AI producing hate speech or harmful content or inappropriate material, really breaking the rules of the norms of human communication. So how do we address that? Well, we mitigated that by using independent filters implemented on Azure in multiple languages to protect from hate speech or inappropriate content. So we obviously allow free reign of the questions you ask. It's completely free, but if you ask inappropriate questions or the AI generates inappropriate responses, they will be filtered. They will not proceed. And Aaron was joking outside a bit earlier that he'd had to summon up the courage to type something rather controversial into the AI to how do you test that? I mean, our test team are going to have fun, aren't they? Think of a few bad words and type those in. Who knows? It literally is a new world, isn't it, that we've all got to get used to. But we already have a paper on how we mitigate the risks of AI in this type of operation. Come and talk to us. We'll keep you in touch. And we expect to deliver version 1 of the AI assistant by the time of our conference in November. So a little bit about roadmap, and I'm going to fly through this because we can share this afterwards, but this is just an average day in the Apteco marketing office nowadays. We don't know what the future is going to be like. It might be like that, it might not. But our future, we want to talk to you about our future. We listen and we research user requirements all of the time. It's what the 3 product managers who are sat at the back of the room do. It's why they're here today, to listen to you, because we value your opinion and your research. We design, we prototype, we develop, we deliver, and we iterate the software so that it's always refining to make it more powerful and easier for you to use. We lead, we inform, and we guide our users. We're not afraid of standing up and saying we're prepared to be counted because we think we can contribute something to your operation. But we also review every user's wish. Every week we have a wish list meeting on a Monday afternoon. We look at the wishes that have come in. We value those requests, and we dedicate Apteco to continuous improvement of what we deliver for you, whether you're a prospect, a partner, an agency, a brand. We dedicate ourselves to improving the software because we care that the platform works well for you, and that as a result, your marketing is more effective, your retention is better, your acquisition is better, and your revenues grow. That's what Apteco's commitment is about. In order to power our business into a global era, we have to have those values. And that means that we will be doing things like closing the loop around the data, bringing more power to the user interface, introducing that fantastic sneak peek you saw of the generative AI capability. And in each of our 3 teams, and you can talk to them if you're in the building afterwards, the product managers are here. So in the Connect team, for example, delivering our CDP version 1 by November, introducing identity resolution strategies, supporting Dynamics 365. We're already working on all of those things, looking at local database upload to the cloud, and extending our API to support row-level contribution, as was touched on in the panel discussion. In the Analyze team, extending those fantastic new target tiles. Didn't those tiles look great with red and green indicators, comparison with last year, out of the box, because those guys developed it. They realized the need, we put it into the product. That's the sort of work that we're doing, adding more visualizations all the way across audiences, all those 30 visualizations that you heard Mark talk about earlier. We're going to use those in the audience workbooks. So you've got a truly powerful analytic environment. We're going to put out of the box reporting for campaigning. So we're seeing the campaign team and the analyze team working together to give those sorts of results. And this year particularly, we're going to focus on two things: RFV segments and a guided RFV process, and then improving our mapping so that we have more mapping, spatial visualization, while also doing that work on Gen AI. And then in the campaign team, extending those campaign sections to have the sort of additional controls I've spoken of, defining objectives and goals for campaigns so that when you have a section that completes a campaign, we can measure it. We can see what the revenue was, we can see what the result was, and then we can trigger campaign actions based on what individuals do. Both in the product and what they do on external systems, while producing reports on ROI and closing that loop all the way round.